um, uh, say to the witnesses, we swear in all of our witnesses here. It's a long-standing policy. So if you would stand and raise your right hand. Do you agree to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, answer in the affirmative. So, you may be seated. Let the record reflect that all of them answered in the affirmative. Let me introduce the panel. Mr. John Board is president of the National Black Farmers Association. Mr. Board is a staunch advocate for African American farmers throughout the country and has worked tirelessly to help eradicate discrimination within the USDA system. Welcome. Mr. Garcia is a third-generation farmer and the lead plaintiff in a class action brought on behalf of Hispanic farmers and ranchers against USDA. He is also president of the Hispanic Farmers and Ranchers of America. Welcome, Mr. Lupe Garcia. Also, I would like to introduce Mr. Phil Givens. Mr. Givens is a Native American and African American farmer from Oklahoma, of course, and Mr. Givens has farmed for over 26 years and represents farmers from 8 different Indian tribes located throughout the Midwest. Welcome, Mr. Givens. Mr. Lucas, Lawrence Lucas, is president of the USDA Coalition of Minority Employees with over 35 chapters throughout the country. The coalition works to remedy representation in the USDA workforce by advocating equal employment and promotions opportunities for all employees. Of course, welcome, Mr. Lucas. Also, we have Lisa Donnelly, is the advisor of women's issues for the USD Coalition of Minority Employees. She represents employees in administrative proceedings with the department. Welcome, Lisa Donnelly. Let me begin with you, Mr. Board, and we will come right down the line, okay? And let me just say this, we have a light, which means that you allowed 5 minutes to make a statement. Then the yellow light will come on, and that would be like caution you to let you know that you should sum up. And then immediately after the yellow light comes a red light, and that means you should shut up. Okay, all right. Let's move right down the line. We got it straight.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, we appreciate the opportunity today to testify before this distinguished committee. To the ranking member and Congressman Bishop. We're all old friends here. This has been such a long plight, and we also would like to recognize some of the other congressional members that have been supporting the black farmers and minority farmers around the country. Congressman Scott, Senator Obama, who sponsored legislation in the Senate for us, and other distinguished members that have been working on this issue for such a long time. Mr. Chairman, you stole my testimony. So many of the things that I wanted to say, I won't read from my testimony. I would like to speak from the heart for just a few minutes about the plight of the black farmers. We've been losing land at an enormous rate, 3 times greater rate than any other race of people in this country. In my own personal opinion, I feel that black farmers have been shut out of USDA lending programs, i.e. the U.S. Farm Subsidy Program, where the top 10% of recipients in the U.S. Farm Subsidy Program receive over $1 million, and black farmers on average in this country receive less than $200. This is something that we fought diligently to correct in the past 3 farm bills. You asked a question earlier during your testimony, is the Office of Civil Rights working? Well, I came today to testify to tell you that it is absolutely not working. The Office of Civil Rights is, in my own opinion, totally disarray and totally dysfunctional to service not just black farmers, but small farmers around the country. We hear that there's complaint inquiries that may be shredded or may not be processed, so on and so forth. Mr. Chairman, these are farmers' lives, and I think that's where we lose the connect with the United States Department of Agriculture when we make inquiries about these complaints. These are just not complaints. These are individual lives that they're refusing to process that's been sitting there with dust on them. There's been complaints after complaints from report after report, the Blue Ribbon Task Force report, the Civil Rights Action Team report under Secretary Glickman, the Office of Civil Rights where myself and Lucas and some of these other advocates lobbied for to get the Assistant Secretary of Administration. We were so excited about that, and we thought we were heading in the right direction, but it appears, Mr. Chairman, that we do not have the right person with the right amount of gumption to take on the old system there at the United States Department of Agriculture. And what I mean by that is, after they get called into meetings, they may come to the department with the right intentions, but they leave there with a zero because nothing seems to happen with the complaints and the settlement. You spoke earlier about the incident with the 30-year-old FSA employee. How can you have a 30-year veteran? Mr. Chairman, I spent 8 long years lobbying to get that one piece of legislation into the Farm Bill. And when I heard about this particular email that was sent to me by an anonymous person within Farm Service Agency saying that there was others out there, not political appointees, but career bureaucrats spending the taxpayers' money to lobby against bringing relief to black farmers around the country, many who can't read and write and express themselves the way that I'm able to express myself to this committee. How dare those kinds of employees, Mr. Chairman, that's supposed to be giving a hand up to black farmers, were the very employees working to make sure that we become extinct. That is a disgrace to this Congress, it's a disgrace to this country. And we appreciate your letter of inquiry to the Secretary questioning that issue. And then we had the GAO who was not even allowed to question those who found fault in the system. Here again, USDA with such arrogance, with the guidance of Office of General Counsel. Myself and Lucas and Ms. Gray and others have fought for such a long time to get to get the Office of General Counsel to stop dictating policy to the Secretary. The Secretary should be held accountable for these instances at the United States Department of Agriculture. And as I close in my testimony, black farmers need justice. We're getting these calls every day, and we appreciate you, Mr. Chairman, and Congressman Bishop to helping make sure that the Black Farmers Bill stayed a part of the Farm Bill. But we need you to go one step further and hold those individuals accountable so that black farmers will be able to walk into a USDA office in their local counties and be treated with dignity and respect and be treated like a man, because I'm going to tell you firsthand, the Department of Agriculture almost made me less than a man. My great-great-grandfather was a slave breeder. My grandfather was a farmer. My daddy was a farmer. And they were able to hold on to the same farm that they passed on to me 4 generations later. And the government was ready to foreclose on me. I felt less than a man that a person from the brink of slavery was able to farm and feed 12 children. And I only had 1 child, and the government was ready to foreclose on me. But thank God that we had good members like yourself and Congressman Bishop and Secretary Glickman who put a moratorium on farm foreclosures. And that moratorium came 2 days before the sale date of my farm, and I was able to hold on. I was one that beat the statistics. But what happened to all of the other black farmers out in Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia? They face retaliation today because the same persons that discriminated against them in the first place are the same persons that we have to go back to ask to participate in the U.S. Farm Subsidy Program, to participate in the farm lending programs. So we're here today to ask this committee to take this testimony that you're going to hear from myself and other advocates today and go one step further and hold those accountable who think they are not, or they think that they are above this committee and above law. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to your questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.